Dr. C from EPPP with Dr. C. Today we are going into everyone's favorite IO psychology, and I'm giving you a preview of one of our subcategories, the hiring process. But today I wanted to specifically talk about predictors. This is one of the trickiest concepts of IO. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to use examples. We're going to get through this. Let's check it out. As mentioned, this is part of our larger video seminar, the hiring process, where we get into multiple regression hurdles, cutoffs, adverse impact, unfairness, selection ratios, all that good stuff. But today, let's just focus on predictors. So to begin, we kind of have to start with pre-employment tests. So these are tests that hiring companies or companies in general require any job candidate to take as part of their job application process. So they may use biographical data. They may use interviews, which a lot of us are familiar with. They ask for, potentially work samples. Give me a copy of a report, redacted. Give me an example of, an assessment that you completed. They might ask for cognitive ability tests. So they might look for administering the WAIS. They want to look at IQ score or personality tests, MMPI, things like that. I know personality tests can be used, for example, high stakes jobs, airline pilots, nuclear energy plants use personality tests. Additionally, it's really important to note, and I know this is not test construction, but companies should really select an employment test, a pre-employment test that's valid, because essentially they're using this pre-employment test to try to predict how that person would actually act if they were hired on the job. So they use it to kind of see, is this person going to mesh with our company? How are they going to perform? And it's really, really important that the pre-employment test gives them an accurate and valid predictor of that. Because let's just say, cognitive ability, someone's IQ score comes out to be, I'm going to think of something really, really high, like 150, but it doesn't really measure how are they going to get along with other people in the company, or how are they even doing the actual job. We know we have this IQ score, which is really, really high, but that doesn't really tell us a lot about the job and the position and how they'll be. So it's really important that they select great pre-employment tests that will help them predict how the employee will be if they're hired. So you already heard me talk about predicting and predictions, and that is essentially what we're going to do today, is talk about predictors. So predictors is a word that a lot of times kind of like multiple regression or anything along the lines of like stats concepts, a lot of our brains just turn off. Totally get it. I've been there. But if we break it down, it actually can make some sense. So once a potential candidate completes the pre-employment test, again, is it a scored interview? Is it a personality test? Something like that. They get a result. They get a score. So in the example I just used of the IQ test, the person got 150. Or in scored interviews, which we'll use in our example, let's say they're going to score someone from a 1 to a 10. 10 best interview ever, 1 not a great look. That score from the interview, that is the test result. That is the predictor. So the results from the pre-employment test are used to predict the candidate's future job performance at the company. That's what a predictor is. It's the score from the pre-employment test. So breaking this down even further, again, I'm someone, I like the step 1, 2, 3, like give me the broad strokes. So you take a pre-employment test, whatever it is, you get a score, potentially like you don't actually know the score, the employer gets the score. That score of how you did on the pre-employment test, that is the predictor. Here's an example that I like to use in this concept. So company called the Pencil People. So essentially their company, they're dedicated to crafting the highest quality pencils that you've ever seen. They're for writers and artists and everyday thinkers, and just a pencil company, hence the title Pencil People. And so when they go to hire a potential candidate, they use 2 types of pre-employment tests. So they're going to give the candidate a job interview, and then they're going to give them a pencil exam. So job interview, exactly kind of what that sounds like. Pencil exam, again, this is my fantasy of this company that I don't think exists, but I should probably Google that because I do not want, again, to be sued. But the pencil exam, the way I imagine this is it's just, 10 questions all about the history of pencils, using pencils, pencil preferences. So it's a pencil exam, 10 questions, asking all about pencils. So the job interview, it's measured on a scale of 0 to 10. Sometimes these are called performance-based interviews. I've been through them. They sometimes can feel really mechanical, but regardless, the people that meet with the person who does the interview scores how the person did. So it's measured on a scale, for this example, 0 through 10. So score of 0 on an interview, but maybe it wasn't their day, right? Awful answers. They hate pencils, maybe. Maybe they're like the anti-pencil person. If you're interviewing for the pencil people, it's maybe not a fit. So they get, let's say, a 0 on the job interview score. Score 10, again, scale 0 to 10 for the interview. Pencils are this person's passion. Like, they love pencils. They're great working with others. They're highly organized. This is like perfect employee for pencil people possible. Wow, that's a lot of P's. Job interview, score 10. So on the scale of 0 to 10, you interview with pencil people, they're going to give you a score. Pencil exam, again, score from 0 to 10. Let's say you answer all the pencil questions correctly, like pencils are your thing, you get a 10 out of 10. Let's say you answered no pencil question correctly, probably me, I don't know the last time I used a pencil, you'd get a 0. And then anything in between. So 10 questions, possible out of 10, that's how they score their pencil exam. So let's break this down to IO predictors. So the predictor number 1 would be the job interview score. So it's measured 0 out of 10. Predictor number 2 is the pencil exam score. Again, 0 out of 10, however you do out of 10, and then we combine them. So if we combine the predictors, we're going to take your interview score and we're going to add it to your pencil exam score, and that is going to be your ultimate predictor. So this is an example, made up person, Leo. Leo is a job candidate for the pencil people. And in the interview, Leo does pretty great. Leo gets a 7 out of 10. And then on the pencil exam, Leo gets a 9 out of 10, which is insane and great for Leo. Love that for him. And so when we are combining predictor number 1, he got a 7, predictor number 2, he got a 9, his total combined score is a 16. So for example, they're using, out of 20, Leo gets a 16, another job candidate gets an 11, another one gets an 18. Then they get to decide, 1, how many job candidates are they going to hire, and they should probably hire the job candidates that have the highest predictor. Leo's is a 16. Again, they probably will hire the person who got an 18, but this is how we use pre-employment tests and predictors to hire people. I hope that made some sense. If anything, pencil people, this is not sponsored, but if it exists, hit me up. And there you have it. So that's predictors. We talked a little about pre-employment tests. If you're interested in more, if you like my style, we do way more than this on the hiring process seminar. So we talk about multiple hurdles, again, all the fun things, but I break it down and we walk through it and we get through it, and it makes a little bit more sense than sometimes when you're reading about it and it's dry and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get this. Yeah, you will. You will. And we just need to make it applicable and accessible. So you can find us, EPPP with Dr. C, on tons of different social media. We have our website, which I think is the best probably resource. Email us, EPPP with Dr. C at gmail.com. We're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, all that fun stuff. Thanks so much for sticking with us. Take care.